Okay, it's showtime, and folks, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to boys and girls, all Whovians of all likes. This is Christian Beza, the legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. I want to welcome you to the live chat today. We've got a special guest tonight here in Eastern Standard Time, which is about 9:15 right now there. But let me introduce our panelists today, all the way to my left. Left. Okay, all the way to the left is Dave Chapman from the rathole.ca. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, not too bad. How are you, Christian?
Not bad there, sir. You said that you were shaven beforehand in a previous episode, and I was like,
yeah.
Did I miss it?
Probably,
yeah.
For months now, since before lockdown.
Yeah, I finally got a haircut. I finally managed to get a haircut here in Florida. I just went out there and did it. It was really a religious experience because there was nobody there, and the barbers were like, "Yeah, just walk in. Do I need to set an appointment? No. Just wear a mask." It's just like, that was just interesting. So, but they got the very, very short hair. So it looks like we're all losing our little follicles because there was nobody there, and the barbers are like, yeah. Getting some feedback there. And then I've got Dr. Freedom down at the bottom, Brian Barres. How you doing there, Dr. Freedom?
I'm doing my Weeping Angels look. Does it work?
No.
How's everybody doing
there, sir? And I have the lovely director of our show for the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Miss Melanie Dean. You can check her out on the Instagram at Pieces Melee. And she still have my TARDIS on a 3-month lockdown. I'll never see it again until I come to Tampa Bay. Is that correct?
If Tampa Bay Comic-Con's still set, I will be there, and I will have the TARDIS with me, and I can give it to you then. Unless you want to put it in a box for FedEx. And I wouldn't do that.
I don't want to do it. I'm scared. It's like shipping, Yee Jee, it's like shipping your child out in FedEx. I'm just like, I got to keep monitoring. It's like sending your kid away to college. It's just like, no, it's not going to happen there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll introduce our special guest tonight. You recognize him, most of you, from the TV movie, The Enemy Within. It's the only episode with Paul McGann in it. And it was actually, I think it's the only episode that Fox can claim rights to it. It is the TV movie called The Enemy Within. It was a special that was done on air for Fox and introduced the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann. It also introduced 2 new companions, one Daphne Ashbrook, who played Dr. Grace Holloway, and the gentleman to my left, right over here, Yee Jee Tso, who played Chang Lee. How you doing there? How you doing there tonight, Dave?
Not too bad, thanks. Hanging in there.
And just in case, for those of you who are just joining us, let me just reminder, if you would like to chat with us, please make sure to just chat into the bottom. You just type in, and Yee Jee and the rest of the team here will be able to read your chats for tonight out there. Okay, and first off, we've got Sean Woody McDonald, my friend there. I need a haircut. Yes, you do, sir. And he goes, "Hey guys, how you doing there?" Make sure you're chatting in the chats down, whether if you're at the Krypton Radio, if you're on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, if you're on my personal page, make sure you're typing in if you want to see yourself and your chats tonight. Please go ahead. We'll be taking your chats all night long. Also, if you are listening to us, make sure if you're listening to us, you subscribe. Also, definitely on the YouTube channel. You can just type in HWWS Media. Again, HWWS Media. That'll bring you onto your YouTube channel that you can see us on YouTube when it drops every Monday. You can also listen to us on Spreaker, on radio.com, cbsradio.com, on Spotify itself out there. Of course, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever the heck they want to call themselves this week. We also have nsclive. Gosh, I can't even say this. nsclivetv.com. We're also on that channel. We're also on Podchaser and on KryptonRadio.com, where our radio station drops our feed every Saturday. So you want to check them out. You'll be the first ones to hear the show on that. And of course, if you want, please tell your friends to like us on Facebook there. Folks, we got Yee Jee Tso there. Again, let me bring you up to speed. For those of you who have not seen the TV movie, this is the one and only episode, aside from Night of the Doctor, that Paul McGann premiered in. And Yee Jee played one of 2 companions on there. Now, if you're not familiar with this episode, it only played once during its premiere in 1996 on the Fox TV News Net, on Fox. I don't know what they are anymore. They're Fox News, Fox Sports, and all that. So it was just plain Fox there. And this was, I think, the one and only time that this was filmed in Vancouver, Canada, if I'm not mistaken, Yee Jee. And unfortunately, it wasn't picked up there. But you know what? That particular movie, I still think is a very integral role in the Doctor Who, in the world of Doctor Who, in the Whoniverse, because for me, I can safely say it kind of bridged the gap between classic and new. And a lot of the things that came out of that TV movie, I think, were reinterpreted and used in the new series. I think that it was kind of like the birth child of what was going to be the end of the classic and into the new Who. But I'm going to shut up right now because I got Yee Jee on the show. Yee Jee, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got that role in the TV movie.
Okay, yeah. How I got the role? Well, we're in Canada, so we actors here in Canada, generally speaking, except for Ryan Reynolds, which we can talk about later if you want. But we generally are doing what's called sort of like a service. We have a service industry. What that means is that generally the lead roles and so forth are often cast in the US, and then they package the whole show, and then they bring the show to Canada and say, hey, we want to film here. What do you got for us? And then they bring us in to audition and whatnot. So the standard way that we get on shows here is to audition. And for Doctor Who, there was multiple layers of auditioning that happened. So I think it was actually there's a bit about this in the book that I published called Time and Spaces, where I go through this kind of embarrassing situation of how I got on the show. So I was.
Okay, we don't have any pictures of your book on the screen there. So
there's a couple of links too in private chat in case people want that. But anyway, that's cool that you have the photo
for everybody.
So so we're auditioning for this thing. It was down to the last two. I was told there was two of us going up for this thing after 3 rounds of auditions. It was me and another fine Canadian actor here. And at that time in my life, I was very bad at managing time. And this audition was at the studio out in Burnaby, and there was some distance to travel, and I don't know what happened that day. It was raining, it was dark, it was lots of traffic. I was irresponsible, so I was very late. I was very late for this audition. Probably I want to say like an hour late.
Oh my god!
And at the audition was Philip Siegel, the producer, the director, the casting director who had cast me in a bunch of other stuff as well, and I didn't want to disappoint a bunch of studio executives that they had flown in from California. Mm-hmm. So this was the big deal, and I blew it, completely blew it. So I went in there. I was late. I didn't really think there was any chance that anything was going to happen out of this thing. So I was like, I'm just going to do my audition, whatever. Like, there's nothing I can do now, right? So it just did the audition. And somehow, whatever it was, days later, whatever, I got noticed that I got the gig. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't think anything of it at the time. Well, I mean, I thought something of it. I was like, wow, that's lucky. I have no idea how that happened. But then I kind of forgot about it. But at a convention, the first convention that we did, or one of the first conventions that we did after the show, I was sitting on a panel with Philip Siegel, and somebody in the audience said, how did you pick Yee Jee for this role? And he told the story of me being late from their perspective. And he was like, well, we were always looking for this quality about the Chang Lee character where he just doesn't give a damn, like he would just like devil may care, like didn't give a damn about anyone kind of thing, and had this attitude, and that's what they were looking for the part. And they thought that the way that I was late and then didn't really seem to care about that and just kind of did the audition anyway, and he said that was the clincher for them. That's what did it for them.
You brought a level of authenticity to the character nobody else did.
So you really can't tell. Like, you can't tell what's going to get you a part in acting. And I've, whenever people ask about, acting and auditioning and stuff like that, I'm like, no. I mean, no matter what you do, there's luck involved. And if that role is yours, maybe maybe there's not much you can do to actually screw it up. And if it's not yours, maybe there's not much you can do to get it. I mean, I don't know. I don't totally believe in the fatalistic thing, but there's there's an element of surprise.
That's great. The next time I go to a job interview, I'm just going to go be 10 minutes late, slapdash, and then go, go, are you going to give me the job because my friend Yee Jee got his job just being showing up
Give it
late.
a shot.
Go ahead. I'm just showing up now. Yeah. Just give me the job.
Yeah, there's something you don't hear often. They go, hire the kid who showed up late.
Yeah.
But now you're in it. Now you're going for it there. And let me just grab a couple chats out there. Sean's back, and he says, absolutely love the Doctor Who movie. Was truly gutted that you guys didn't do a series, but are you going to reprise your role for Big Finish? I actually know the answer to that. But we'll get to that. But let me just grab Penny Rapp. I hope I pronounced that right. She says, hello. So Chang Lee. I think we're going to get to that there. But I just had a quick question for you before we get to jump over to Big Finish. Were you a Whovian before this? Or were you aware of Doctor Who at all, or was this not on your radar and it's just like, okay, what is this?
I was aware. Yeah, I was aware. I was what they call a latchkey kid when I was younger. So basically, I would come home from school and I would park my butt in front of the television and kind of have a little table where I was doing my homework, and the TV would just be on for like 8 hours or something like that. And then my parents would come home and I'd sneak into bed. So of the litany of shows that happened during that period, Doctor Who was one of them. And so I think it was the Tom Baker era, if I remember correctly. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to the plot. I couldn't tell you the plots. I couldn't tell you really anything about it. Same with like Knight Rider and Airwolf and Star Trek and whatever else it was on at the time. Right. I can't remember anything about what actually happened in the shows, but I do remember images flashing, music going, so that's, yeah. So I knew about it. I wouldn't dare to say I was a Whovian or a Doctor Who fan. I just knew about it.
Gotcha there. Well, folks, we're about to hit commercial break. We're just on a heartbreak right now. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation with actor Yee Jee Tso, Chang Lee from the TV movie, the 1996 Fox movie, The Enemy Within, with Paul McGann. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and don't forget to chat. We got plenty of people on tonight. Go ahead and chat with Yee Jee Tso. And when we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and continue to become part of the legend. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for waiting for us. This is Christian Basil with the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. I am the host. I'm here tonight with Dave from the rathole.ca. If you like board games, this is the man to talk to about it. He rates them, he checks them out, he loves them. And if you're watching us on the live feed or the YouTube channel, you can see all the Doctor Who stuff right behind him there. Speaking of Doctor Who stuff, right below me is Dr. Freedom. Brian Barres himself. Please check him out on his YouTube channel. Just look up Dr. Freedom on YouTube. Subscribe. Anything Doctor Who news he's going to be talking about it, he's going to drop, and he's going to tell you about it, whether you like it or not. And we have Melanie Dean, director of our show, and she's the woman who keeps me in check of things. Pretty much. So there, she's got her hand up going, yeah. I just got one more chat that just came up there. This is from Penny again. She's asking, who is your favorite Doctor? Is it obvious? Is it obvious, or is it not that obvious?
If that's a question for me, I'm gonna have to stick with my Doctor, of course. But that said, there were two. No, I'll stick with Paul. But there is, there were two Doctors in the show, and Sylvester is very dear to my heart as well. Just hanging out with the guy at the at conventions and so forth. He's like the pinnacle of what you would think of as an entertainer, right? Like he is constantly lighting up the room with hilarious tidbits and so forth. So I mean, they both have great qualities. Paul has told us a bunch of wonderful stories about theater in London and things that happen in the scene over there. And he's a very dedicated and like a poet, that guy. So I can't compare really. Pick a favorite. It's tough, but I'll have to stick with the ones that I've been on the show with, I think.
There you go. Oh, is that Paul McGann? Okay, never mind. There. Yes, of course it is there. Now, unfortunately, because Fox owns the right to, I don't even know if it's the appropriate thing to say because I don't want to get hosed by Fox nowadays. But Chang Lee and
Dr. Grace Holloway.
Dr. Grace Holloway, unfortunately, cannot be used in any means now. That just makes me mad. I want to see them at least come back in Big Finish. Now I know you've been in at least a couple Big Finishes. I know about the Mastermind with Jeffrey Beaver performing there, and there is Daphne Ashbrook, and again you two come back in Tales from the Vault. Now tell us a little bit about the Big Finishes you guys did together. And I want to talk about when we get into a little bit there, because we were talking about Colin Baker. You did become kind of a companion for Colin Baker, but I want to talk about your Big Finish experience there, first of all.
Yeah, for sure. There is, and I didn't post this earlier, but I'll post it over here now. But I have a page that kind of has a few of the, you know what? I might have to update that just to. But there's a few things. So we did, yeah. There was one I did with Sylvester. Called Excelis Decays. That was directed by Gary Russell. That was a really fun project. Another one by Gary Russell was the one with Colin Baker that you mentioned, Real Time. And then the Tales from the Vault, which ended up being somewhat of a series or whatever, with various directors. And it came a little bit afterwards, but the character I was playing in those ones, and Daphne was in. I got to work with Daphne on those ones. That character kind of persisted through those stories. So it was fun having a sort of a more long-lived kind of storyline to kind of follow through multiple episodes or shows, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, let's talk about Real Time. You were in it with Colin Baker. It's one of my favorite all-time stories.
Oh wow,
that
cool!
Story blew my mind, and I think you and Colin and Maggie Staples, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Did I get it right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
I love how the three of you just connected. I love the story. It's called Real Time. It's not Big Finish. It was a Doctor Who. It was a BBC Doctor Who thing. It was an online animation. I think you can still see it on the YouTube channel. I'm not exactly sure. But when I saw it, and I'm just letting you know, spoiler alert, if you get to the end, you better have a big box of Kleenex on standby down there, because it really does tear your heart apart. Tell us a little bit about that, having to work in that dynamic, and was there really a big difference between working with Big Finish and what you did for the BBC on that animation?
It wasn't that different. Big Finish were still like involved in the production, so a lot of the so we did the recording at Moat Studios, and there was a lot of the vibe around the show. A lot of the people that were involved were also involved with Big Finish, so they were tied in somewhat. But it was cool to know that there was going to be this visual aspect of it that they didn't have necessarily in the other Big Finish audios. That the fact that it was going to be on BBC and that was it was a neat twist to that one. And for sure, working with Colin was a blast. He's another one of those personalities that kind of like lights up the room. You know when he's there, and he's kind of got this commanding kind of presence about him, right? I mean, these folks are cast as doctors for a reason. They've got something,
right,
special about them.
And they all have a different dynamic. I mean, Paul is different from Sylvester, is different from Colin, is different from Tom, is different from Peters. Both of them,
totally.
And you got to work with them, which makes me even jealous there. Just in case for our folks, Melanie has just posted on the line. I'll just show this off. If you want to check out Yee Jee's filmography, it is, and you can check out his website at www.yeejeetso.com. Did I pronounce that right? It's Yee Jee Tso, right? Yee Jee Tso?
Yeah, Yee Jee Tso, yeah.
Okay. And just in case you're listening to us on the audio, it's YeeJeetso.com. Again, that's YeeJeetso.com, just in case for those listening on the audio. Now, here's the thing. We'll get back to our chats. Penny, and here's an interesting question, because I'm going to ask this question just because it had a little bit on me. Do you think it's possible that a Native American indigenous will be a companion?
Very
Interesting.
Anything is possible, I like to say. I mean, I think there's been a lot of changes with respect to casting, in recent years. I mean, at some point you would probably get laughed at if you said that there was going to be, say, like an Asian companion.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe there hasn't been one that's been like a recurring, companion throughout several episodes or something like that. But also, there's at some point you would have been like, are they ever going to cast a female doctor? And that would have been no as well. So
Right.
they've done that. So I would hesitate to tell you that that's never going to happen. That's for sure. In fact, I look forward to it happening soon. Outside of that, I couldn't say, but it would certainly have my support if anyone asked me.
For me personally, you're Chinese, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm part Filipino, and we had it was just a little bit of a strange commonality because I saw the TV movie and I said, oh, they got an Asian guy playing the companion. This is cool. I don't see that. And they haven't done it again since then, which really just throws things off. So I'm just like,
right.
But did you know when you took on this role how it changed your life from before it happened to what it is today now?
Yeah, I wasn't really prepared for, say, going to conventions and events and stuff like that, even like 20 years later. Like there was the 50th anniversary BBC, big special that was on. And they brought in a whole bunch of us. It was like I don't know. I want to say like 100 companions and past cast members from the show, and they brought in as many doctors as they could, and it was a pretty major sort of deal. It was an event space in outside of London. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It starts with an E. My memory is not what it used to be, so I can't quite remember the name of the place. But anyway, there was 20,000, 25,000 people there. It was like a big deal. And I would never have imagined when we shot the movie that was in my future. Just, it would never have occurred to me. But there I was 20 years later doing that. So.
Yeah, the Excel in London. That's what I was thinking.
Excel. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And just a few more chats. Sean's back. He says, yes, definitely agree with you, Christian. It's definitely one of mine too. So I'm assuming he's referring to Real Time. Yeah, it is an excellent episode. If you can find it, and I think I almost want to cross fingers that it's on YouTube somewhere, please check it out there. Yee Jee plays Goddard, and there's a surprise twist to Goddard. There's a surprise twist to the Sixth Doctor, and there's a surprise twist to Maggie. I'm just forewarning you, everything you know about the Sixth Doctor, Maggie, and Yee Jee. It's no spoilers. It's just going to be. It's one of those stories that I think is the best of Doctor Who.
Wow.
Because it is sci-fi that took a story, and the three of you not only bounced off each other so well, playing Goddard, who has this mysterious secret about him, but when you guys were implementing and bouncing off each other, it was just so fun. And it's this is the stuff that Doctor Who's is known for, when sci-fi can take it and just twist it around in such a way that it is just like, oh, not only was I not expecting that, but wow, okay, this story is one of my best now. That I loved it. So check out Real Time when you get a chance. Melanie's posted this for everybody. For those of you who want to see the first time Chang Lee's entered the TARDIS, it's got a YouTube link. For those of you, if you want,
I've been scouring YouTube and trying to find the animation, so I'm like finding all these things. Going, I'm throwing this in the chat for everybody. So that's why I've been kind of like looking over here because I'm like adding stuff.
Someone posted that on Twitter once, and there was a thread about it, and I thought that was pretty cool because people seem to enjoy it.
But you can also buy the movie as well if you get a chance there. And
maybe, yeah.
You guys, I'm going to bring this up because there was a special going on, and I was very happy that my TARDIS got to be a part of it. For those of you who are going to see this on the YouTube and the stream. Speaking of getting back together, I think this was the 20th anniversary episode. Now, folks, if you're listening to us, we have a picture, and I think this was, if not mistaken, taking place in Oklahoma. We have Eric Roberts, Jeremy Raddick, who played who played why my brain's just fried. Gareth, and Eric Roberts was the Master. Yee Jee was Chang Lee, Daphne Ashbrook, Sylvester, Paul, and Eric Roberts' wife, who I feel real bad what happened to her in that movie, her character at least. Like, Eric, is that what do they call it? A prophecy of what you were trying to say in that movie? I was like, okay, not cool there. But can you tell us a little bit about this little moment here in Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was the first time we'd all been together, I think, in the same place for quite some time. And the folks in Oklahoma invited us down, and we all went down, and yeah, it was a neat time. An interesting place. I'd never been to Oklahoma before. There was a minor earthquake when we were there. I woke up one morning and the room was moving, and I was like, that's what am I dreaming? What is going on here? And I thought maybe like a truck had like hit the building or something, but I'm like, wait a minute, this is a pretty big building, so it would have to have been like a massive truck. I called down to the desk, and someone answered, and I was like, did the building just like move? And they were and then she said, oh, no worries, sir. Or she didn't say no worries. That's like an Australian thing. She said, it happens. It's an earthquake. You know, it happens here all the time. And I'm like, what? Really? What? In the middle of the continent? I'm like, there's no fault lines here. Like, what's going on? You guys, why do you have earthquakes? Hurricanes maybe, but why earthquakes? She's like, oh, it's from the fracking. I'm like, wow. Okay. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, California's that way. What's the hell? What's going on in Oklahoma?
I guess they're man-made earthquakes. I didn't know that could happen. So anyway, interesting thing there. But anyway, great, lots of great people there at that convention, and it was fun, and we got everybody together, which was even extra fun.
You're jumping out, Dave. I knew you had a question. Come on in, brother.
So one thing I wanted to say is that they are not completely nowhere.
Oh.
This is the Doctor Who role-playing game, the source book for the 8th Doctor.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
How do I get one of those? My kid would go crazy. My son loves RPG.
Cubicle 7. They're Cubicle 7, Irish company.
Okay.
We can talk after.
Let's talk after. I need to get a copy of that.
You're in here as a companion for the Doctor. And at the beginning of the show, you're basically a companion for Sylvester McCoy. By the end, you're definitely a Doctor's companion. Most of the movie, you're kind of not. Do you consider yourself a villain? And Christian probably knows why I'm asking this question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I've had this topic before. I'm going to sit back for a second.
I think he was the villain maybe to start off with, and maybe he was a villain afterwards. We don't really know what happened to him. I think there was definitely a point in there where he saw the light, so to speak. Either literally or figuratively, I guess, because there was that scene where it was very light around their heads, and like isn't that what happened? Yeah, there was at the end there was the reviving of, anyway. So I don't know. I guess, look, when we jump into characters, or I'll speak for myself. I won't pretend to know what every actor does, but when I jump into a character, I'm looking for ways that I can be that person. I'm looking for things that are similar about us, or I'm trying to carve out pieces of myself that kind of fit with that character. And I don't know. I don't think I ever really felt like, I was being bad for the sake of being bad. I actually don't think that most of the time, anyways, I don't think that people who do bad things are going around, being like, I'm going to do bad stuff. I think most of the time they believe they're actually doing the right thing, or they're doing their best, or they're doing, I don't know. Maybe that's naive, but But anyway, that's the take I had on it with Chang Lee. Is I don't really feel like he was a villain per se, but rather misguided. Is that too naive? Is that too like I don't know. He was led down the wrong path, whatever. So
I think the question. Go ahead, Dave. I think he's one to say
something. The reason I asked that is one of my earliest episodes with the Traveling TARDIS here was the spookiest villain or scariest villains, and I actually chose Chang Lee.
Yeah,
because he basically just went down that path. It's like, oh, okay, I'm in.
Yeah,
Master, we're good.
Yeah. I mean,
there was much discussion after when he brought that up.
There was much discussion after.
The look on everyone's faces was absolutely glorious, and then we got a few. Okay, yeah.
I chalk that up as a win. I think that's great. I wish I was there. That's awesome.
On YouTube.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out.
I think it was just he was we got a commercial break there. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue on that. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and continue to become part of the legend. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. If you're watching us live, thank you for joining us. For those of you on the YouTube watching us, thank you for joining us. You are catching a whole lot. If you're listening to us to the audio, thanks for listening to us. But believe it or not, seeing us live or seeing us on the YouTube channel, really cool stuff. Plus, you get to chat with Yee Jee and the team out here. So if you're in the chats right now, whether you're on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, the Hanging With Web show, or even my personal chat, go ahead and continue on chatting. Just go ahead and type it in, and Yee Jee and any of one of us will be answering questions for you tonight. And Sean's back, and he said, "Did you?" Nice, Sean. You don't trust it. Did you break or take any props from the movie? Nice.
Probably.
We start with a break.
Probably
Paul McGann's hair.
Yeah. This is in the Time and Spaces book as well. I kind of tell a story about this, but I'll reveal it here as well. So this isn't, maybe I didn't actually break anything, but I did temporarily mess some things up. We were shooting we were shooting at that location where there was water everywhere, and it's at the very end where the TARDIS, there's like fireworks and everything, and the TARDIS is up on a hill, and down from there is this area. It just kind of looked like this sort of had this nice atmosphere of like being lit up from underneath, but really it was a water feature. It still is a water feature, and it was about it's about 1.5 feet deep maybe or something like that, and with these concrete pads that you kind of walk across to get to the different navigate through it, and I was standing on one of those things and just watching things happen or whatever. And it was just before we were about to go to camera. They were setting up for a scene and we're just about to get rolling or whatever. And I recall feeling this force, like some like compelling force, like just like pulling on my soul. And it turns out I was falling down into the water.
Oh gosh.
No.
And so all the costume, everything, makeup, the whole works wet. So the makeup and wardrobe people had to frantically figure out a way to solve that problem. We didn't have doubles of everything. So they just had to dry stuff as best they could. And it delayed things and caused a bunch of kerfuffle at that point. But then that jacket, I did actually end up being endowed with that jacket afterwards, the Chang Lee jacket, and I subsequently just wore it out. It was like my going out jacket. I would just have the thing on and just no clue really. I was just whatever, just blah blah blah. And then I threw it in the closet, and it became something that I couldn't really sport anymore. Like that kind of jacket. I don't know if you guys remember. It was made by an Italian company called Destroy, and it was popular with like sort of raver kids in the 90s. And it was like silver with like an orange stripe and these black, it was like this shiny thing. And as soon as I hit my like 20s, mid to late 20s, I couldn't wear that anymore. I mean, it just looked so, in the closet it sat. And then years later, I saw it was actually, maybe it might have been at the 20th, or it might have been at something else. But Andrew Beach from the BBC was showing Paul the costume from the movie. He had just reclaimed or recovered, probably for a lot of money, recovered Paul McGann's costume from the original wardrobe designer on the show, and he was presenting it to Paul, and we were taking some photos of Paul back in the costume for the first time in, you know, what was probably 20 years or stuff like that. And that was all very exciting. And I went to Andrew and I said, do you want the Chang Lee jacket? And he said, well, yeah. And so we discussed it. Yeah, we discussed it.
It's a BOGO.
Yeah. I ended up just donating it to him because I think it kind of belongs with Paul's stuff, and Andrew's spent a lot of time kind of collecting all those things in one place. And I think his eventual goal is to have it be at the British Museum, which I think it's a good home for that. So I did get something from set, but it ended up, I think, in the right place.
Speaking of things ending up in the right place, and I say these things because everybody knows on this show that I'm the worst seguer in the world over here. And I'm just going to pull this up, and I'm sorry I'm covering people up, but I want to talk about the book that you wrote. And we had talked about this earlier, Time and Spaces, for those of you listening on the radio stations or on the audio platforms. Time and Spaces, a photo journal of Doctor Who filming. Yee Jee Yee Jee Tso. I got it right. Please tell me I got it right.
Yep.
I got it right.
You got it. You got it.
And let me go ahead while I'm at it. I'm going to put the link up to it just in case people are watching there. Yee Jee, tell us a little bit about this book and what started, because you told me, but I wanted to hear other people to hear about where it came from and where they can purchase it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So back in the day, we did not have the same kinds of like NDAs and agreements that they make us sign on shows these days. And so taking photography, you know, making photographs of on set was not, they didn't think anything of it, right? And photography itself was different back then. Like I had this Nikon FD metal heavy thing, film SLR that I would bring on set, and you know, I just put it on something and set the timer and take a photo, and some of the photos worked out and some of them didn't, because you know, you wouldn't be able to tell until you took the photos in to get developed or whatnot. So and you know, I didn't think much of it. It was like just something I did. So I, you know, years later, I don't know, I never even thought about it. I just had assumed that stuff was gone. I'd moved several times. I almost died in a motorcycle accident at one point, and my family had moved my stuff on my behalf, and things got lost. I don't know. I just
wait. You just don't talk about. I almost died on a motorcycle accident. Don't go into it a little bit there.
To the point where you had your stuff moved. That made me go, you were in bedridden for a while.
No biggie. Yeah.
Just I got a little road rash. No,
I was out of commission for about 3 months. I was catapulted. I got to experience flight. I flew about 45 feet over this intersection. I hit a tree. I broke an arm. My leg got crushed on impact. I think there was 5 surgeries or something, and I was in a coma for several weeks. It was pretty bad. I almost died. Yeah, but luckily my orthopedic surgeon was amazing, and now I have titanium instead of bone for limbs.
Now you get one of those nice little cards when you go through TSA to say, "Look, I have metal in me. Please, you know, just so you know why it lights up."
Listen, I don't want to give the spoilers away. You're not supposed to turn into Goddard for real in this series.
I know, right?
So
So my stuff got moved anyway. So that was just one of the many things that happened in my life that I was like, well, there's no way that stuff exists. I just hadn't thought about it. And then it so happened that we had some stuff when my mom moved from Vancouver to Toronto. We ended up somehow having some boxes that she had like in our garage. This is like my wife and I, the house that we live in now. And she went on this a few years ago. She went on this sort of mission to clear out the garage. So she's in there and she finds this box. And this box has my scripts, copies of my script, colored copies of my scripts from the Doctor Who movie, as well as various other documents from the show. Like we have these scheduling documents, like the one-liner schedule and the location schedule, and just all of these artifacts and my photos from the set. So she's like, hey, I found these and I thought you might want them. And I'm like, yeah, I think
hey,
someone's
I
gonna
found your
want
Babe Ruth cards. Do you want me to throw them for you? Oh, we take them out of the garbage? Sure, right.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. It was that kind of feeling. So I was like, okay, well, how do I didn't want to just, whatever. I didn't want to like sell them on eBay. I didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. I was like, how do I get this out there? Like, people are going to want to see this. How do I do it? And I looked at the photos, and I was at a few years previous to that, I was a commercial photographer for a while. So I would take interior photography for contractors and architects and so forth. One of the many various jobs that I've done. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go around and take photos of these places that the way they are now, like where these sets were, where these locations were. I'm gonna go and get some photographs of them today, and put together a book with then and now photos, and I'm gonna try to tell some stories about each one of these sets, and make it a bit personal and put it together in a book. And so that's what that is. It's time and spaces. These spaces where we existed 20 years ago when we were filming there, and then what they're like now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, Yee Jee, when we return, we're about on a hard break. When we return, we're going to wrap up our interview with Yee Jee Tso, who played Chang Lee in the TV movie The Enemy Within and Doctor Who, and apparently future Cyberman. He keeps on riding those motorcycles. When we return, please continue to log on, stay tuned in, and continue to chat with us as you become part of the legend. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final portion of our segment with Yee Jee Tso, who played Chang Lee in the TV movie The Enemy Within, starring Paul McGann, his one and only episode before Night of the Doctor came out over here. I am with David Chapman from therathole.ca. I am with Dr. Freedom himself, Brian Perez. I am with the lovely Melanie Dean, our director, and I am with Yee Jee Tso. We've got a few more chats coming in here. First of all, we want to welcome Stats Akar. Hi, guys! That photo is a little disturbing. I like it, and it scares the heck out of me at the same time. I don't know what's going on over there. And Sean says it's pretty difficult to get the book over here, as far as I can tell, as I've always wanted your book. And I know Sean's in the UK. If I'm not, Sean's in the UK. I'm definitely sure he's in the UK. I hope so. He's my brother in the UK there.
It's Milk Publishing, MIWK. We did sell out of the books, but I think I've been discussing with the publisher, how we can get more of them going, and I think it just we were getting there, and it was just the whole pandemic thing kind of threw a wrench in it, like everything. Part of the challenges is we kind of went with a custom size. We kind of had a custom format going for that book, and so it's just finding a printer that can do it at that size. But definitely working on getting another edition out. For sure, by the time the 25th anniversary comes around, we'll definitely have it available. So both on my website and on the Milk website, which is spelled MIWK, it's let me see if I can tap it out here.
Gotcha. Well, we got a link up there. Is that a link that they could use anywhere? I mean, we could just go to the Yee Jee. So
you could go. If you go to my site. Yeah, that link that I shared earlier, you could just go there, and that will have a link over to the Milk site to do the purchasing, or if it's able to be purchased somewhere else, I'll have it there as well. Gotcha. So that will happen. And thanks.
Go ahead. I'm going to throw a few more links in here. Of course, if you want to check out his filmography, here's the link over there. It's just yeejeetso.com filmography. But here's the one I'm very interested in, because I think I got a slight offer for you. Your music. What do you play? I'm now going to, after the show, I'm going to start playing this now. What kind of music do you play, Yee Jee?
I do all kinds. Yeah. So that stuff is just basically was a bunch of personal projects. I had a goal in the last couple of years to just learn how to do some more sort of audio engineering stuff. I played around with electronic music when I was younger in the 90s. And when I was wearing the Destroy jacket to the raves. So anyway, so there's some electronic stuff there, and then there's some stuff. My kids both play music. My daughter plays the cello, and my son plays the violin. So I was trying to get them involved in some musical. So there's one album in there that's like the kids are, they're like kid-friendly music, and that one is maybe a little bit less polished as far as like production value or whatever. And then there's another one that is a little bit more sort of 80s, 90s kind of like alternative-ish. Indie pop, and as I go, I've been sort of improving with my audio engineering a little bit. So I think that one sounds pretty good. Still not professional, but it's I think it's listenable. Anyway, so it's a mix of stuff.
I want to propose this live on our show. There, our friends who run our producers, they Hanging With Web Show. They actually have an indie music spotlight. Would you like them to play? If I don't want to promise anything. We'll talk to Garrett, but would you like some of your music to play on that channel? And they play it all the time. That
would be really cool.
Yeah, he's got the Vulcan from Voyager. Please, somebody. My brain is fried at after 9 o'clock.
Tim Russ, aka
Tim Russ. He has music playing on the indie music spotlight, and there's a couple other people. I think the Weeping Angel, Melanie, Ellen Page, Ellen. I can't think Ellen Thomas, who played one of the premier Weeping Angels. I mean, you would be in a family of geekdom in an indie music spotlight. So if you like, I will talk to Garrett, and we'll definitely we'll try to put that together for you if you like.
That would be really neat. Hey, even the thought feels really nice. Thank you so much for that. Even if they're like, not interested, that's totally cool. The fact that you even thought of that is really sweet.
No,
thank you.
And we have folks. If you want to check it out, it's the HWWS Indie Music Spotlight. They actually go live and they play music from all of our friends in the geek world. Definitely people who are trying to make it into the music industry, and people who just want to be part of the Indie Music Spotlight. They've submitted their stuff over there. Check it out there. Now we're going to try to get Yee Jee into there.
Do you post any of your stuff on SoundCloud or any of those channels?
It's in. So that link actually has the link out to pretty much all of the. So I went with CD Baby, for better or worse. I don't know.
Okay.
Musicians argue about the pros and cons of that, but what it does is it kind of distributes it up to all the digital platforms. So it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon, it's on Google Music and Apple Music and blah blah blah. So it's out there. I don't know if it's on SoundCloud. That's the one place I'm not sure it's on. Okay. But that site has that my page has a link to a CD Baby page that has all of the music there for free preview. So you don't have to buy anything. You just listen to it there. For example.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Dave and Melanie. We got this into the chat right now. So if you want the Yee Jee in your game, where he should be within the universe of games that they have out there, here's the link to it. It's a long thing, so you can just check it out on the Facebook page. But Doctor Who role-playing game, Cubicle 7, Cubicle number 7 games.com and /our-games/Doctor/Who RPG, and we're definitely all that. It's in the chat. We'll put it up there. I promise. All these links will go up there. We'll be part of this podcast. I'm not going to read it out there.
I do have several reviews of the RPG on my site as well. So if you find it, I always link to Cubicle 7 as well. So.
That's cool.
Dave, break out the game. We're going to start playing now, and Yee Jee's going to play as Chang. Let's do this.
I'm going to have to have a chat with. I'm going to also have to have a chat with you about. We have this game that we're developing, my kids and I. We just started with this pandemic thing or whatever, but I think it's going to be pretty fun, and it does have an RPG dimension to it. So we should chat.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
When's my next trip to Vancouver?
Yeah.
Possibly October if the universe doesn't come to an end.
Yeah, right.
We're almost there. Florida's open.
Although I want to just jump in because I have one question that I wanted to ask about, like filming for the movie. Did you ever have any specific, other than the night that you fell into the water and nearly drowned yourself? Was there any other night that just went particularly crazy long, or a series of nights where you were just like, we're on overtime now, and my call for tomorrow is in 4 hours. This is great.
Yeah, they often do that. So what they do in film and TV, they have, so the unions impose, if you have a union that does this in North America, we do. There's they impose what's called a turnaround time. So they have to give us 10 hours from the time we wrap until the time we get called in, the call time for the next day. Now, 10 hours sounds like, maybe it's enough, but it's usually not. You still have to get home, wind down, get some sleep, hopefully wake up the next day, shower, get back on set. It's usually not enough time, but they have this 10-hour turnaround. And when it's a show that is struggling to make its days, which means it's going into overtime in order to get all the shots, then this can become a bit of an issue, because, for example, you'll start at 7 a.m. on Monday and you'll go into overtime, and let's say you wrap at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, right? So at that point you've been going for, say, 16, 17 hours or whatever, so you're pretty tired, but you got a 10-hour turnaround. So turnaround it is. The next day you can't start until 9 because of the turnaround, and you do another 17, 18-hour day or whatever, and now you're finishing up at 2 in the morning, and then you keep going. And by the time Friday rolls around, you don't finish shooting until like 5 or 6 in the morning. And then you have a short weekend, and then you start at 7 a.m. on Monday. So your clock just is like, your circadian rhythm, your body clock just gets thrown way out of whack, right? So those weeks aren't always how it goes. But when we were shooting in Chinatown, that week was like that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
They didn't have they didn't have anything like scheduled for pickups that they could kind of run into. It was just a just
get it done. We were on location, and they basically transformed this whole. It's actually a few blocks. It's in the book. It's a few blocks from my house. This alleyway, this conjunction of alleyways that they used as the set, and the whole place was just transformed. Like, they had all this stuff there, and they had the week. Like, they had booked it for a week, and or whatever it was a few days or whatever, and there was no change in that. Like, if you didn't get the shot there, then it wasn't happening. So that's often how film and television production is, especially when you're on location. It's like, we have one day here, and if we don't get this shot, then the movie doesn't work. So for the sake of the however many millions of dollars that we're pouring into this thing, we got to do this. Mm-hmm. It means staying up for 24 hours straight. That's what it means.
Yep. I've been on sets where it's just that, from a crew standpoint, where it's just like you're watching the DP go, and they're very, very picky on what shot they want, and you're just looking at the clock going, the sun's going to be coming up soon. You're like, the sun's coming up soon. This is an overnight shot. God.
Mm-hmm. It's that kind of night. Sean, I just wanted to wish us farewell. Yeah, we're coming up to the end of the show. Thank you, Sean, there, and love you guys, and stay safe. Yep, definitely Yee Jee. We need to tell him that a lot. Yee Jee, I just had a question for you. Just a couple questions to wrap up the show. First of all, you are in the room with Chris Chibnall, and he's bringing you back on, but he's telling you have full command of what Chang Lee can do now. What would you have liked Chang Lee to do at this point coming into the new series if Chang Lee were to be brought back?
And what does he wear?
More importantly, let's.
Oh, I got to show it. Muppets.
Yeah, that's cool.
And does he have his own glow sticks? Sorry.
You're gonna have to send me that image. Actually, I don't have a screen cap of that like you do. No, seriously. But the question was, what would I be doing?
Well, Chris Chibnall gives you full thing, and he says Chang Lee's coming back, and I'm going to have you tell me what's going on with him, what he's doing right now. What would you tell the writers to do at this moment?
Well,
no pressure. We got 2 minutes left.
I like to think that he did something interesting with the gold dust or whatever. Yeah. And actually there have been a couple of opportunities to sort of like, just collaborate briefly. Like, collaborate's a strong word, even, like just discuss with various people that had sort of ideas for fan fiction and so forth. And so, there's been a few ideas that popped up, like maybe he used that money and, built some some technology company around, what he learned about being on the TARDIS, or maybe he's trying to discover the secrets of time travel, and from a science background, or maybe he I don't know. There's like so I like to think that he did something like that with it, but you never know. He could have, maybe he just maybe he gambled it away, maybe bought illegal drugs. I don't know. There could be a lot of things for him to do. I think.
But next Christmas he wasn't here, so that's the good part.
He wasn't here next Christmas. Yeah.
I just want to wrap this up. One last question there. You're an author, you're an actor, you're a musician. What is the most proudest thing you've ever done in your life? What's the moment
when my kids are born?
Oh.
Yeah, there's no that's none of the other stuff would
doesn't
even
matter.
really matter if not for that. So yeah.
That's it. The kids.
Yep.
So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. For everybody joining us on the live view, thank you. We'll be back, and Yee Jee, you're always welcome to come back over here, folks. Again, thank you for joining us. I've got Dave from the rathole.ca. I've got Dr. Freedom on the YouTube channel. Melanie Dean, check out her live feeds when she does her painting just for you guys, and it's free to watch out there. And of course, Mr. Yee Jee Tso from the TV movie. Thank you all for coming, and as always, please stay safe, stay logged on, stay tuned in, and always become part of the legend. And cut. We are still live.
We're still live. We're having another Katie Manning moment.
We're having
a Katie
Manning moment. Yeah,
internet. We're still live.
We have an outtakes moment that people wanted us to stay around, but as far as the audio versions, we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk to Garrett there. If you don't mind me, I'm going to send me your contact information, and
Cool.
I'll let him address anything for the Hanging With web show as far as bringing your stuff to the indie music hour. That'd be awesome out there.
Nice. Thank you.
I think I can end the broadcast. I think everybody's out tonight.